Once upon a time, in a small village nestled at the foot of the mountains, there lived a young girl named Eliza who loved to dream about faraway lands. One sunny morning, while exploring the village's forgotten library, she stumbled upon a dusty, ancient book hidden in the back corner. The book had a cover made of shimmering gold with strange symbols that glowed faintly under the light. Curious and excited, Eliza opened the book and found blank pages, except for a small note on the first page. The note read, "Whoever reads these words shall unlock the adventure of a lifetime. Write a destination, and the book will take you there." Eliza gasped in surprise, her heart pounding with excitement as she reached for a pen. She wrote the name of a distant place she'd always dreamed of, the Great Waterfall of Elarion. As soon as the ink touched the paper, the room around her began to spin, and a soft wind blew through the library. Before she knew it, Eliza found herself standing in front of a breathtaking waterfall, its waters cascading down with a roar. The air was fresh and cool, and birds with rainbow-colored wings soared above her. Eliza couldn't believe her eyes. The book had transported her to this magical place in an instant. She marveled at the beauty of the waterfall and felt a surge of energy she had never felt before. As she stood in awe, a kind-looking old man appeared beside her, holding a staff carved from an ancient tree. "Welcome, traveler," the man said with a smile. "You have unlocked the powers of the magical book." Eliza blinked, confused but intrigued. "Who are you?" she asked. "I am the guardian of journeys," the man replied. "The book is a gift for those who seek adventure and wisdom." Eliza felt a deep sense of gratitude and knew that this was the beginning of something extraordinary. The guardian continued, "But remember, the true magic lies not in the places you visit, but in the lessons you learn along the way." Filled with excitement, Eliza thanked the guardian and looked back at the magical book in her hands. She knew there were countless places she could explore and many adventures waiting for her. With the book, she could visit the towering mountains of Galder, the enchanted forests of Maribel, and the crystal-clear beaches of Lumina. But her journey wasn't just about seeing beautiful places. It was about discovering herself and growing as a person. Eliza closed her eyes and thought of her next destination, the Endless Desert of Zahar. In a blink, she found herself in the heart of a vast desert, the golden sands stretching as far as the eye could see. The sun was hot, but the desert's beauty was undeniable, with dunes rising and falling like waves in the ocean. As Eliza wandered through the desert, she encountered a young boy named Yerrick who looked lost and tired. "Are you okay?" Eliza asked, offering him some water from her flask. "I've been searching for the Oasis of Hope," Yerrick said, his voice filled with despair. Eliza smiled warmly and opened the magical book once more. She wrote Oasis of Hope, and suddenly, they were surrounded by lush greenery and a crystal-clear pool. Yerrick gasped in amazement, tears of joy filling his eyes as he knelt by the water. "Thank you," he whispered, his hope restored. Eliza realized that her journey wasn't just about seeing the world, but about helping others find their way. As she traveled through mountains, valleys, and cities, Eliza met countless people who were in need of guidance and inspiration. Every time she opened the book, she discovered a new magical place that taught her something valuable about life. In the Whispering Woods, she learned the importance of listening to her inner voice. On the Floating Isles, she discovered the power of imagination and creativity. In the City of Lights, she realized that happiness was not found in material things, but in the people she loved. The magical book not only showed her the beauty of the world, but also helped her grow into a kind, wise, and confident young woman. One day, after months of traveling, Eliza returned to her village with a heart full of stories and lessons. The people of her village marveled at her tales of adventure and the incredible places she had seen. They gathered around her, eager to hear about her journey to the Great Waterfall, the Endless Desert, and the many other magical lands. Eliza shared her stories with joy, but she also reminded them that the most important adventure was the one within. "The world is full of beauty and wonder," she said, "but the real magic lies in how we see and appreciate it." The villagers were inspired by her words and began to look at their own lives in a new light. They realized that they didn't need a magical book to find adventure. They only needed an open heart and a curious mind. Eliza continued to use the book, but now she focused on helping others discover their own paths. Whenever someone felt lost or in need of inspiration, Eliza would lend them the book, encouraging them to write their own destination. The book became a symbol of hope and possibility in the village, reminding everyone that they were the authors of their own stories. As time passed, Eliza's village became a haven for travelers, adventurers, and dreamers from all over the world. People came to share their stories, learn from one another, and seek inspiration from the magical book. The village blossomed into a vibrant community where everyone was encouraged to explore their passions and embrace their dreams. Eliza became known as the Keeper of Journeys, a guide and mentor to all who sought her wisdom. She never stopped exploring, always finding new places in the book and new ways to grow. One evening, as the sun set over the mountains, Eliza sat by the village's river, reflecting on all that she had experienced. She realized that her greatest adventure had been discovering the power within herself to create change and inspire others. The magical book had opened many doors, but it was her courage, kindness, and curiosity that had truly shaped her journey. As the stars began to twinkle in the sky, Eliza smiled, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. She knew that there were still many more adventures waiting for her, both in the magical book and in the world around her. And so, with the book by her side and a heart full of wonder, Eliza continued her journey, ready for whatever came next. The guardian of journeys often visited her, proud of how far she had come and the wisdom she had gained. "You've learned the greatest lesson of all," the guardian said one evening. "The magic was never just in the book, but in the way you see the world and help others see it too." Eliza nodded, understanding the true power of her adventures. She had become more than a traveler. She was a beacon of light and hope to all who crossed her path. As the days turned into years, Eliza's legend spread far and wide, inspiring people from distant lands. Adventurers and dreamers traveled from all over to meet her and hear her stories firsthand. Eliza welcomed them with open arms, always eager to share the magic of the book and the lessons she had learned. She knew that every person who opened the book had their own unique journey to embark on. "Remember," she would say, "the journey is yours to shape, and the magic is in the way you see the world." Her words touched the hearts of many, and the village became a symbol of hope and wonder. As Eliza grew older, she decided to pass the magical book on to the next curious soul who would discover its wonders. One day, a young boy named Finn came to the village, his eyes filled with the same curiosity Eliza once had. Eliza saw herself in Finn and knew that it was time to pass on the book. She handed the book to Finn with a smile, saying, "This is your adventure now." Finn's face lit up with excitement as he carefully held the book in his hands. "Where should I go first?" he asked eagerly. Eliza smiled and replied, "Anywhere your heart desires, but remember, the real magic is in the journey, not the destination." With those wise words, Eliza watched as Finn opened the book and began his own adventure. The winds of change swept through the village once more, as new stories began to unfold. Finn's first destination took him to the enchanted forest, where he encountered creatures of myth and legend. He faced challenges and obstacles, but with the wisdom of the book, he found his way. Just like Eliza, Finn learned that the journey was about discovering who he was and what he was capable of. Eliza watched with pride as Finn grew, just as she had, from a wide-eyed dreamer into a brave adventurer. The magical book had a way of finding those who needed it most and guiding them toward their destiny. Eliza knew that the cycle would continue, that the book would keep inspiring new generations. As the sun set on another day, Eliza sat by the river, content and at peace with her life's journey. She had lived a life full of adventure, growth, and purpose, thanks to the magical book and her unwavering spirit. In her heart, she knew that the best stories never truly ended. They simply gave way to new beginnings. And so, Eliza's story became a legend, passed down from traveler to traveler, filling the world with wonder and hope. The village thrived as a beacon of inspiration, where dreams were born and adventures began. The magical book remained a treasured artifact, waiting for the next curious soul to unlock its secrets. Eliza's legacy lived on in the hearts of all who had the fortune of crossing her path. She had shown the world that the greatest adventures come not from where you go, but from who you become along the way. And as long as the magical book existed, there would always be new stories to tell, new journeys to take. The world was vast and full of wonders, and Eliza had discovered its most precious secret. It was not the places that made the journey magical, but the people, the experiences, and the growth that came with them. Eliza closed her eyes one final time, knowing her story had inspired countless others. Somewhere, in the hands of a dreamer, the magical book waited to write its next chapter. The journey would continue, and the magic would live on forever.